It is up, up, and away for the hot air balloon enthusiast here at the Motorcraft Quality Parts Gatornationals. But back in the pro stock pits, well, it's nothing but hard work. It used to be, Don Garlitz, all you had to do was cool them off and adjust the valves. Now with these tricky clutches, it's almost the maintenance time it takes on a supercharged dragster or funny car.
And Steve Ekman has got his work cut out for him. A 734 does not beat the 729 that Johnson turned. He has got to find some performance.
And they're looking for it in chassis and clutch and possibly even making sure that the spoiler on the rear of the car is at its absolute maximum angle of attack per the NHRA rules. And here, already fired up for round number 2 of Top Fuel. Laurie Johns versus that man, the 1989 Winston Top Fuel champion, Gary Ormsby. And these are a pair of drivers, both Laurie and Gary Ormsby, Don Garlitz, who have new cars under construction, feel they have maybe an inferior ride right now, but haven't got the new ones done yet.
Well, neither of these cars have had a really outstanding performance in the earlier rounds, so I would imagine that both crew chiefs have been working very hard trying to get them tuned up.
Now, Laurie Johns, Corpus Christi, Texas, the Jolly Rancher machine. She defeated Corey McClanath in round 1 with a nice hole shot. She was happy about that. Gary Ormsby, Roseville, California, the Castrol GTX Top Fuel dragster. He defeated Tom McEwen and Jack Clark's Mobile 1 Special in round number 1. So it's Laurie Johns, near lane, up against Gary Ormsby. These cars make, I think, 5,000 horsepower now is conservative, Don.
Probably so, and that's hard to believe out of an engine that originally produced only 425 horsepower.
If that. All right, there's Ormsby. The wings high in the air to provide the downforce it takes to glue these machines to the Gainesville Raceway quarter mile.
Both cars, excellent levers.
That's right. It is Ormsby by a wheel. Oh, Laurie won't like these numbers. Ormsby runs a 5.11. She runs a quicker 5.10. He had the advantage off the mark, 283 miles per hour. Let's see if we can see it. Does Ormsby move first?
He certainly does, Steve. He took a decided starting line advantage, and if it hadn't been for that, we'd have had a different winner because Laurie Johns actually produced more power in the middle of the racetrack. Now, down at the top end, the high-speed tuning of Lee Beard, the crew chief for Gary Ormsby, paid off with a remarkable 283 miles an hour, and that's just what it took to hold him off.
Well, Laurie Johns won in a hole shot in round number 1, and Gary, you beat her with a hole shot here in round number 2. Your 5.11 to her 5.10.
Well, I didn't ever see her, but I could hear the motor her over there. I knew that she was right with me, you know.
Now, that's all good news. Bad news is those numbers aren't what you want. You've got to get in the 4s to win this race.
Oh, there's no question about it, Steve. We've been struggling all weekend, you know, and I don't know what we're going to do. I'm sure Lee will figure something out for the next round.
Well, you're certainly not burning it up.
No, that's for sure.
Well, crew chief Lee Beard may be going to burn it up because competitors like Bernstein, Amato, and Hill, they're all in the mid-490s, and 5.10, 5.11 doesn't beat that.
No, it doesn't. You're on board, kind of, with Joe Amato as our camera takes a look back at the cockpit. You saw his wife, Jerry, moving around to the front of the car to guide him back after the burnout. A sun-drenched crowd rising to their feet because the car owned by their man will be up against Joe Amato. And that, of course, will be Frank Hawley driving for Darrell Gwynn, that car in the opposite lane. And Darrell has always considered Gainesville Raceway to be his home racetrack. Well, the Joe Amato, they're all his home racetrack. Tim Richards going to work on what, Don?
He's working on the little timer right there in back. Maybe it is they can change some of those management systems right at the last moment.
I'd hate to be Frank Hawley today. A lot of self-imposed pressure. Darrell Gwynn won this race a year ago, his last victory before his tragic accident in England. Hawley, of course, the operator of the drag racing school right here in Gainesville. Joe Amato, well, he says Joe knows drag racing. And the man from Old Forge, Pennsylvania, certainly proved that last year, winning his 3rd Winston Championship. Tying you, Big Daddy, and Shirley Muldowney.
I'm sure he'll win a lot more, too. Probably beat us quite a bit. He's a young man.
Yes, he is. Joe Amato versus Frank Hawley. You're right with Amato. You can see no smoke off those tires, but a little off of Hawley's mid-course. Tim Richards said, yes, we'll take that one, even though the car slowed up a bit. 5.06 for the winner, Amato, 2.75. 5.10 for Hawley at 2.78. And the laundry, as drag racers refer to their parachute being stuffed into the pack of John Force's AA fuel funny car. We'll see him soon against Tom Hoover.
Welcome back to the Motorcraft Gatornationals at Gainesville, Florida. A lot of Eastern fans here. First race for the season for them. Let's go to Steve at the far end.
Well, Joe Amato is intentionally using every bit of stopping distance here to try to avoid any further pain in the neck, decelerating.
Well, the track is real long at Gainesville here, so I hit the brake handle one time before I hit the chute handle. Let the car decelerate a little bit, and it definitely helps a lot.
A 506. Did Tim soften it up, worried about the racetrack?
Well, he kept it, you know, it's so hot, you know, but you don't want to beat yourself, so we hopefully got the win light, and that's what counts.
Thanks a lot.
Next race, very strong race. Prudhomme in the far lane, Hill in the near lane. Now, Eddie Hill comes into this round with a definite performance advantage. It looks like he's a shoe-in winner.
He was low elapsed time in round number 1 with that 496. Look at the difference in the cars. A little short yellow car and the long state-of-the-art Al Swindle car for Don Prudhomme. Now, Prudhomme, so far anyway, has had a pretty encouraging season. He went winless last year, his first year back in Top Fuel. But earlier this year at the season opener, the Chief Auto Parts Winter Nationals, he was runner-up with an outstanding 4.93, a career best. Eddie Hill, Wichita Falls, Texas, between feeding the dog and the cat and nitro to that motor, he stays a very, very busy guy. The Super Shop-sponsored automobile.
It'll be very interesting to see what the Prudhomme crew did to his car to try to make up this difference.
Well, they certainly know, just based on the numbers they ran in round 1 and the numbers that Eddie Hill ran, that they had to do something. Oh, Hill was late. Prudhomme in a runaway. What a shocker. The low qualifier is out. The Snake goes to the Final Four at 5:07. 274 miles per hour. Hill, 5:21.
Something definitely went wrong with Hill. Either he lost his concentration or he had some little problem in the car, because he was just off so bad at the starting line. It certainly wasn't just a misjudgment. I think he must have been something in the car that caught his attention. I saw a little wisp of smoke on the tire. Something in the clutch management wasn't right. And then he must have backpedaled it and popped the blower.
Well, there is Kenny Bernstein getting ready. Dale Armstrong looks pretty concerned now. Suddenly the Snake is a big-time player with that 5:07.
Well, what a disappointment for Eddie Hill. Such a brilliant performance at this race. Let's go down to Steve.
Well, Eddie, a delightful race has come to an end, unfortunately. A blower problem?
Yeah, kicked the blower off real early. Don't really know why. That was totally unexpected, obviously.
Will you stay with this old car or try the 300 incher in the future now?
I love this car. We're going to stay with this one.
Kind of like a good old leather jacket. You feel comfortable in it?
Feel real comfortable in the car, and it's never let us down.
That's for sure. The low qualifier at 492. Adios.
We keep trying to get that car for the museum, but he keeps wanting to race it.
That's right, not far from the racetrack. Here is Don Garlick Museum of Drag Racing. There we can see where the blower restraint straps are busted off. They kept the blower on top of the engine. Well, actually, it hovered about an inch above the engine. There is Kenny Bernstein. He has the hot hand in Top Fuel so far this year. He has won the last 2 races, the Arizona Nationals and the Super Nationals in Houston. He's up against Frank Bradley. Bradley won the opening race of the year in an upset in the final round of the Winter Nationals over Don Prudhomme. Frank Bradley from Northern California, the wine country. Kenny Bernstein, well, he's got a place in Dallas, Texas, a place in Charlotte, a place in Newport Beach, California. Depends on which racing team he's paying attention to that week as to where he lives. Bernstein's reaction times, Don Garlitz, have been the talk of drag racing.
Yes, sir. They have looked his car over from one end to the other, trying to find some tricks on the throttle. And you can bet that Frank Bradley is concerned about that right now. He has got to get by this Bernstein, and it's going to be a tough cookie.
Absolutely. It has been, you have to run 5 or 6 hundredths better than Bernstein to beat him with that reaction time. It's part car, and it's part driver. Dale Armstrong has got something in that automobile, be it fuel system, clutch, that's helping Kenny Bernstein carve those incredible reaction times. And it is Kenny Bernstein with another impossibly quick reaction time and a good lapse time at 5:06, 284 miles per hour. He will head into the Final Four. So, it is Prudhomme against Gary Ormsby. Prudhomme has the lane choice. Liebert has to step up that Ormsby car if he's going to get past the Snake. Kenny Bernstein versus Joe Amato. Bernstein has lane choice in that one.
Meanwhile, back in Bob Glidden's pit, Rusty and Billy maintenance the clutch. They do as much work on these cars between rounds as the fuel cars. Bob, he's working over there on the clutch grinder, getting the disc squared away, getting them real nice and flat. Meanwhile, let's go down to Steve at the far end.
Well, apparently Tim Richards for Joe Amato and Dale Armstrong for Kenny Bernstein are taking the same approach to this race today, as both in this round, Kenny, have run 5:06.
Well, that's good. That's what you want to do. It got a lot hotter in between the first and second round, and so now it's everybody's race to just put the best in and hope it doesn't smoke the tires.
Now, if you take the elapsed times to the 1,000th, you have lane choice.
Well, that's good. You never know what's going to happen up there. I think both lanes are good right now. I don't think it matters, but, you know, if somebody was to oil something in front of you, at least you've got a choice to move over.
You also had another terrific reaction time of 4:3.
Well, that's fine. Appreciate that, but Joe's been on him too, and everybody else, they're all beating on me. You see my shoes. I got different colored shoes on. I'm trying everything today, Steve.
As Amato often does with all of his lucky items he carries.
Looks to me like a lead foot if I ever saw one.